Hey, my name is Yolanda, and welcome to Frank Factualities, the podcast. Tune in each week as I speak about life experiences from my perspective and offer you a bit of unsolicited advice. Let's take a little time to laugh, to think, and to cry as we tackle some serious topics and some not so serious topics. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Hey. Welcome to Frank Factualities, the podcast. My name is Yolanda. Thanks for tuning into my show for another week and joining me for another episode. I ended up switching out my mic. I wonder if it sounds different to you all. I had a mic connected to my table with the arm, and then I noticed that my sound, I've been having to edit it so often that I said, I have another mic. Let's switch to that mic, see what happens, see if my sound is better, and I don't have to try to yell over or edit my audio so often. So hopefully this works for you all. I don't know, but I'm trying it. What's been going on with me? Just a little like blah lately. I don't really know how to explain it. I just don't feel like myself. And not that that is a bad thing. I think too often we think of that as like depression or something's wrong because we don't feel a ways. And oftentimes we want to just feel happy all the time or have this just giddy type of mood, but it's just a blah mood. I don't have street talk today mainly because of my blah mood. I just lately have not been leaning into a lot of the um, stuff that's going on in the world. I wanted to be insular and in my own zone, in my own world, taking care of my own priorities and business because with everything that's going on, and it's not just like politics and just the drama of court cases and the negativity and all these things. I just need to sometimes take a break from the world and not just indulge in it. And not that I don't see it. Of course, if you take any stroll on social media, if you have the news playing, you're going to hear some of it. But what I don't do is take a deep dive in it. I don't sit and look. I don't read. I just am in a mood of wanting to just see and promote positivity. And if something doesn't lean into that, then I got to back away for a little while. So I encourage you all to do the same. I had to give that same advice to my student today. She was saying she wasn't in the school for the last 2 weeks. She was in school, but not into school. And I just told her, like, hey, baby, everybody needs a mental health break. Sometimes that requires you to take off a day or two from work. My coworker was just saying that she needed to take a mental health break. I told her I need to take a mental health week. I need to just decompress and just flush all of that negativity out. But in my world, meaning the local news has just been, a lot of crime lately, a lot of things happening, a lot of deaths, and handle them so that you can get a sense of, okay, let me get myself back on track. So that's what I've been doing. That and because I've been in this straight blah mood, I want to talk about love today. I want to promote positivity and I want to talk about love and I want to get everyone into that love spirit. And I want to talk about this is I can't think of the guy name, but he's a mental health therapist and he's on social media and he's married and he was speaking to his he really wasn't a person that was looking for someone to spend the rest of his life with because that love or partnership just wasn't on the forefront of his person that loves love. And no matter what, you want to be in a relationship, you see yourself being married, you want to be settled down. Then you have these people that couldn't care less. If I'm in a relationship, cool, but I don't want to be up under someone all the time. And that exists. We don't see that often. And there are not many people like that. And obviously, there are more guys than girls with this particular stance on love. but it exists. And it just and a conversation that I had with a friend of mine a while back. You have to be with each other all the time, and you want to cuddle up with them, and you want to pretty much be inside their skin. I'm one of those girls. And my love language is that uh, if you're not speaking my love language, if you're not giving me that attention, then I feel as though you're not really into me. And that doesn't necessarily that's not necessarily the case all the time. And that was a conversation I was having with this young lady. I often get single women have conversations about with me about how did I know that my husband was the one. And I don't think he'll mind me sharing this. If you're new to the show or you just chimed in or you don't remember me saying this, I don't talk a lot about my marriage because even though I'm very transparent and I'm the woman with no secrets, I am in a partnership. And if your partner's not comfortable with something, then you don't, you have to compromise. And so my husband is not as transparent as I. So he doesn't really, feel comfortable with me sharing our personal life. So I typically don't share a lot. I may mention him. My husband said this, my husband says that, but you don't really hear me go into detail about our personal and private relationship because it doesn't make him comfortable for me to discuss that. So that is why I choose not to discuss it. But he and I have had this conversation, and I don't think he will mind it, me sharing this with you all. So anyway, my husband is his love language, or the way he likes to show his love language, is through acts of service. So he'll do stuff for me. He will bring me breakfast in bed, and he will, if I had a chore that I wanted to do that day, and I'm like, oh God, I need to clean this area rug, he will do that for me. But the conversation that the girl was having was she was struggling because she felt as though her partner wasn't speaking her love language. It was driving her nuts that she felt as if he did not care. And a lot of time that's what we as females will go through. We are looking for a partner who is going to show us that they care so that we know they're the one, because that's the question I get. How did you know that your husband was the one? And to be truthful with you, I didn't. And I don't think you know up front. But what you do know is I like spending time with this person. They like spending time with me. And I don't really want to let this go at the moment. But what I struggled with in my relationship was just that I knew my husband loved me, but because he didn't speak my love language, I was unsure and I questioned it to him. Not I just out loud, but I said it to the person that it mattered. Hey, I know you love me, but I don't really feel your love. And the reason I didn't feel his love is because he was speaking to me in a different love language. But just because somebody's speaking a foreign language to you doesn't mean that they're not smart. Doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. Doesn't mean that they don't love you. And that's what happens sometimes when you all cross people that you're meeting. And just because they're not giving you the time and attention that you want, doesn't mean that they're still not interested in you. They are just speaking a different love language. And we sometimes get that confused. So it took me to have to get out of my own zone and for me to truly tap into who he was. So I had to get away from me. When I say that, I mean, like, I had to stop looking at it as, what do I want? What am I getting? And we're used to that. We're used to being selfish in our own zone and thinking about what it is that I want in a relationship, not looking at your partner saying, what is it that they want out of a relationship? And what is it and how are they in a relationship? So I had to look at my husband. From the time I met him, we were together all the time. I mean, we were doing a long distance relationship. And when I say long distance, maybe like an hour and 15 minutes, but enough so that we could only see each other on the weekends. And the reason was we had jobs. We worked Monday through Friday. So weekends were the only free time. So we went back and forth. I would go see him. He would come see me, but it had to just be on the weekends. And we did this for years. When I say years, it had to be at least 5 years for sure that it was only a weekend thing, unless it was summers and we had a little bit more time to spend with one another. But he called me constantly. He kept me updated with what was going on with his day to day. And he was putting forth the effort. So I knew that he clearly was into me as much as I was into him, because I didn't have to figure out, well, where is he? I hadn't talked to him in a while. Oh, communication stopped. He's not reaching out. And he made the move forward to say, I want to be in a relationship with you. So number one, it was the effort. It was the effort for it to say, I'm interested. It was the effort for it to say, I think I'm more interested in just dating you. I want to pursue a relationship with you. So that was, again, men are hunters. So they're going to hunt or go after what they want. Now, I say this jokingly a lot, but my husband always said that he wasn't pursuing me to be in a relationship and that I was supposed to be the jump off. Yes, I'm saying that out loud. I've said it on my live podcast. I think you'll be okay. Trust me, I feel no type of way about that, and neither does he. But that's our little joke, and we talk to one another like that. Like, girl, you weren't supposed to be the one, but I was clearly, and it is what it is. But I thought that that was funny because I think from what I said in the beginning, that sometimes you don't know that that person is supposed to be the one, and that may not have been your intent when you initially speak to that person or you initially go out on your first date. You may not see that, but what makes you aware that, hey, it may be more is, so I had to tell that person when my husband, then boyfriend, was getting serious with me, like, hey, I met this guy, I'm really into him, and I want to see where this goes. So I cannot pursue anything with you. And then my boyfriend currently, or this new guy that I wanted to pursue. And at the time I broke it off, we weren't quite boyfriend and girlfriend yet, but I could see that it was getting serious and I didn't want to have to split that. So I cut that off. But that's what people do when you're interested in someone. And of course, now I was able to focus on just one person, and then this relationship could kind of move forward. So as things progress, after we've been in a relationship for about 3 years, we had my son. But to this day, responsibility to acquiesce to what I need from him in my love language is for the both of us to compromise and say, okay, I know that my girl, even though he grew up as an only child, so he likes his space. He likes his personal space. He doesn't sometimes want to be bothered. And a lot of times we can take that as, oh no, because that was the conversation with the woman I was telling you we had. She came to me and just was talking and said that her partner didn't want to be bothered with her. She would come home. He didn't want to do anything but be with their child, didn't have time or attention from her. I think she said he was an only child. And I just shared my story to relate to her, like, hey, that's my husband, but I had to know that that's what he needed for his own. Like, we individuals, before we become an item, before he becomes my boyfriend, before I become his wife, he's my husband. We're individuals, and we're still going to need our own things taken care of. Our own hierarchy of needs will need to be met. And if those are not met, then we can't be the perfect partner or semi-perfect to our partner if we're not whole. So you hear the whole saying, your cup is not full. You can't pour into somebody else's cup. So that's what it is. I recognize that he needs his time, because otherwise, how is he going to be whole enough to be able to protect, provide, and be there for me? So I give him that time, and I don't take it personal, because it's not all about your relationship. I know that sounds crazy, but it isn't. Being in a relationship with a person should not consume another person's individual identity, whole life. You have to learn to share your time with your partner. So my husband deserves the right to have his own time. He deserves the right to be to himself, by himself, and just deal with his. And because we live together and we're married, that doesn't allow for a lot of time. So I have to sometimes give him that space. And that doesn't mean that he's neglecting me. It means he needs his time. And that takes a lot out of me, trust me. Because again, I'm an in your skin type of girl. I'm very needy. He will tell you that if he had to say what is my like flaw, it's that, who you super needy. And he's recognized that, which is a problem for him, but he learned that that's me. And when he sees that I need that hug, that touch, that attention, he'll give it to me. So it's a yin and yang. It's a seesaw. Okay, I got to give him his space. And that might be something that he needs more of today than maybe tomorrow. And I can't take it personal to think that because he needs his time and space, that somehow indicates that he's not into me. So some of you may say, well, I want a person that speaks my love language, because then otherwise I don't want to be in a relationship. But sometimes you don't know what you need. You get what I'm saying? You know what you want. You want someone that speaks your love language. But at the end of the day, speaking your love language may not be what balance you out as a human, as a whole, as a partnership, because we got to live life together. So him speaking my love language isn't what I might necessarily need. I need somebody to balance me so that when I get overwhelmed, they may calm me down. If I'm a person that needs someone to manage the life, like manage the day-to-day, protect, provide, that my love language has absolutely nothing to do with any of those things. You understand what I'm saying? Affection is a part of a relationship, but it's definitely not all of the relationship. And I have to recognize that. And it's not that I don't get it. It just may not be in the amount and in the amount of days and energy that I would probably want. But again, not that it's not there. So the effort in which you see from your partner has to be displayed, of course, but also getting out of your own way. And that is what we as women tend to do. I'm not saying a man doesn't either, because you also are comparing. You're like, okay, I didn't get this in my other relationship, I gotta have this in that one, but you neglect everything else that came with it. Like me, for example, okay, I need a man all up and through my skin and me in his. Well, then if I wasn't with my husband and I got with a guy and he spends all his time with me, but he doesn't work, and that's why he's able to spend all the time, or he's in and out of jobs, or he's at a job that is kind of laissez-faire, he comes and goes, and he can't really provide, but he got all the time in the world for me. But that's not really what I want. You get what I'm saying? Yes, I want to be under someone's skin, but I still need a perfect balance. So you're going to have to be willing to compromise if you're single and you're looking for a relationship. And that has been my advice. Now, that friend I was talking to you about, she ended up leaving that guy because it was too much for her. She couldn't manage it, and they're not married. And she wasn't looking to do that because she had begged and plead, asked to go to counseling. Those things didn't work. My husband and I went to counseling, and not afraid to go if things get so complicated that we can't manage on our own. So her partner just wasn't willing to do that. And of course, again, you have to have compromise. He wasn't willing to compromise. They couldn't work out their differences. But if you're single, you have to understand that it's not going to be a perfect relationship. There are going to be things that you like, uh. The question you have to ask yourself is this something that I can live with? I knew that my husband loved me. I knew that he didn't show it the way that I would have wanted him to show it, but he was showing it. I remember one of his friends was super shocked because we were talking about, oh, you look good, you're beautiful, and he's like, he said it in front of his friend, which was a girl. And he was just like, baby, I love that dress or something. You look really beautiful. And she was like, oh, that's so sweet. And he was like, I tell my wife she's beautiful all the time. Does he tell me I'm beautiful? Absolutely. Sometimes those things can be desensitized to you if you do hear them all the time. So where I hear it all the time, I didn't think of it like, oh my God, that's so sweet. But yeah, he says it all the time. Is that my love language? You thinking, yeah, Yolanda, you said that your love language was words of affirmation. He does say he loved me, but I'm so needy that, okay, well, why do you love me? What about me? I'm beautiful. Okay, well, how so? Why do you think I'm beautiful? What about me makes me beautiful? I'm that chick. So yeah, it's sickening. So who can expect for anybody to do that? So when you think of, okay, I think you're a pretty decent girl, or you all ask the question for a woman that's single who may be beautiful to you, why are you single? Sometimes it could be stuff like that. That's a very needy quality of mine. I can't say that everybody would be tolerant of that. My husband is very tolerant of that and understands, like, oh Lord, here she goes, and will sometimes roll his eyes at me. I don't take it personal because I can recognize and look myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, man, you're doing too much. That's very extra of you, sis. You understand? I can recognize that. And that's something that most people won't deal with. But you got to be honest and willing to look yourself in the mirror and see and say if this is a thing that, hey, not a lot of people are going to deal with. That's a hard thing to do. It's hard for us to really take a look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what is it about me that people don't like? What is about me that I may be able to work on myself with? What is it that I absolutely need in a relationship? What is it? Because you're not going to always need the same thing throughout your journey of growth. You get what I'm saying? So if you are 30 now and you're not married, when you become 40 and you're still not married, then you may not need the same thing that you needed at 30. If I'm raising my children and I have 2 kids and the kids are under 10 and I'm not in a relationship, and now my kids are 15 and 14 or whatever, and they're teenagers, I may not need a provider. My kids are getting older. They're getting ready to get out of the house. Maybe a person that can just match me is the same. I don't need someone that makes more money than me. I need somebody to just be a companion. So looking at where you are, your stage in life, and looking at exactly what it is that you need the most in a partner is what you need to realize, or what you need to analyze. And once you analyze that, you need to make a list of what is a non-negotiable for you. What do you absolutely need out of a partner? Right? Because you're not going to get everything. So what are you willing to compromise on? For me, that was someone speaking my language, someone speaking my love language. That's it. His love language, frankly, the fact of the matter is my husband's love language was foreign. It wasn't something that I could recognize, and it wasn't something that I understood. And I had to get used to that. And you think in acts of service, who wouldn't want breakfast in bed? I appreciate it. It's not like I don't appreciate it. It just wasn't what I wanted because I love love. I'm a lover's girl. I'm a kiss you all over your face, hug you really tight. Like I want to lay on your chest when we're watching TV. That's not flying in my house. Just understand that, okay? My husband's like, all right, that's enough. He give me a couple minutes and it's like, all right, go back on your side. And that's okay. I don't feel any type of way about that. I don't feel like, again, I know my husband loves me without a shadow of a doubt. I don't feel like, but I had to get used to that. It was a hard thing to get used to. And every day I had to remind myself, oh Lord, he in his mood. He don't want to be bothered. Not again. Why you always act like I don't take it as a negative thing, because we have to allow people to be themselves. And I think so often in relationships, we want to change people so that they match us, so that it works for us. But what about them? That's what we're not doing. We're not thinking about the partner in the relationship and what is it that they need and how can we both compromise so that the both of us are happy. So guess what? We have to take the time to do the thing. My husband agrees. I know my baby need her love. She need her attention. I know she needs a little touchy feely. Now let him say it. He do give me that touchy, but he'll like come randomly and massage my back, rub my shoulder, kiss me or whatever. But again, I'm needy. So I need like 10 or more minutes of that. You get what I'm saying? But I compromise. All right. It's not like he's not making an effort every single day, because that's just what it is. He's not totally neglecting me to say I'm not going to do it at all, because girl, I don't feel like all that. It's hot. Don't put your body heat on me. Don't come over here sitting by me. No, we compromise. And for him, his love language is, again, time and attention. So you're thinking like, if he wants time and attention, shouldn't that work with your um touchy feely? No, not really. So he likes to have conversation. He likes to be engaged in conversation, sitting together, just spending the quality time. That's his thing, quality time. And not quality time like we got to go somewhere, quality time, but just engaging in a conversation, sitting with each other, watching TV, just kind of being in each other's presence. But that's only temporarily for a short period of time. You understand? Because again, he's going to go astray after a while. He'll put his headphones on, he'll get in his zone, watch something on his phone, listen to band tunes, because my husband's a band nerd. And then I have to realize, okay, he in his zone, not personal to me, has nothing to do with me. But again, when you live with each other, there's no escape. It's not like you can go in another room, but what I'm saying is that I got to accept that it's going to be times where we in the same house and we're not interacting with one another, and that is okay. But take that same concept and look at it when you are in a relationship and you're not married and you don't live together and your partner needs time for themselves, and they're not calling you and you didn't talk to them for a couple of hours. You can't be like, you've been off work for 2 hours now, you haven't called me. Maybe they needed that time to unwind. Maybe they needed that time to just be with themselves, to just get away from the day and everybody. Not that they don't love you. That has absolutely nothing to do with it. Not that they don't want to be with you. Sometimes they want time with their friends. My husband goes out of town with his friends. They've gone to take a little camping trip in the cabins and spent time with each other as boys, just to kind of decompress, so all of them can have that time together to discuss their woes of the world. That don't have nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. He is his own man and he needs time with his friends, his family, outside of me. Outside of me. Yep. Outside of me. And our boyfriends, our spouses, they are not our property, and that they still get to live their own lives. And sometimes that's going to be, again, doing things that doesn't involve us being there and right by them. And that's one thing we have to get over. So when you get in a new relationship, truly look at the individual and see who they are as a person. So now when they say and do things to you, you don't take it as a personal dig or something offensive towards you. Rather, you look at it as, you know what, that's who that person is, because we'll be together and their mom will call and they'll say, okay, I got to be in a mental headspace to talk to my mom because she's going to want to talk for some hours and I can't do that right now. So then now when that same thing happens to you and you're calling and they're not answering and you thinking, why you answer my phone? And they say to you, oh, I just needed a little time. I was taking a nap. And you thinking, oh no, you was with that, no, you just saw them do that to their mom. You see them do that to their siblings. They're doing that to you because that's just who they are. Sometimes they don't want to talk and sometimes they need their space. That's not personal to you. You understand? But now, I'm not saying that it sounds as though I may be saying, you just got to deal with who a person is. No, that you deal with it and you compromise if you both are on the same page, and they also too have to compromise for who you are. And it's an understanding, and you all are working with a common goal, which is we're going to make sure that both of us are comfortable with who we because we love hadn't been created, and you want to work on it, you want to make it happen, then there's going to be compromises. There's going to, even, and sometimes it's in looks. I did a reel on that before. I did a episode, I think, on that, and I was just saying you will not marry your type, and that sometimes we're just looking for that perfect thing. Okay, he looks this way, I need him to have this, this, and that, and this is how I need him to speak to me as far as love language goes. And it ain't, you're not going to check off all of those boxes. It's impossible. You have to figure out what you're willing to let go of. And a lot of times that's definitely going to be this eye candy that you keep imagining, because you won't marry a type. And I've said that before, not that you won't be attracted to them, but the person that you think you're supposed to be with is not the person you're going to end up with. Is going to be the person that, again, whoever you believe in, whatever you call that higher being, sees it is your partner for life. You get what I'm saying? Your partner for life is going to be who it is for you that you feel is worth you making sacrifices and compromising for, because you're not going to do that for everybody. So if I had to answer that question, how do you know if it's the one? It's the person that you're willing to make sacrifices for, the person you're willing to compromise for. And I know we do that a lot for some people that we ain't supposed to, but the difference is they will match that energy. They're going to make sacrifices and they're going to compromise with you as well. So it won't be a one-way street. You both will be compromising, just like in the start of my relationship, where we had to travel because we didn't live in the same city. So it was a yin and a yang. I'm going to come some weekends, you're going to come some weekends. He was willing to compromise, so I was willing to compromise. Same thing with the love language. Girl, I need to be left alone sometime. Boy, I need some love sometime, some physical touch in the love department, and we got to compromise with that. You understand? A compromise was me having this podcast. Girl, I know you like to talk a lot, and I know you real transparent and you don't care about telling your business, but I'm a private person, so don't be on there talking all of my business, girl. So I don't talk all his business. You understand what I'm saying? But there's a compromise to that. And if I ever overstep my boundaries, he'll tell me. But typically, I know him well enough to know what boundaries he has and what I won't, step over. So we don't have a problem with that. But I'm sharing that story just to share with you that, again, you're going to have to make some compromises. You're going to have to truly sit and examine yourself to see what it is that you need, not what you want. The wants is just a wish list, literally. You get what I'm saying? What do you need truly in a relationship? You probably don't need what do you call it? Eight figure, you know what? uh, a seven figure pop in the way that you're like, you're not going to go down unless you marry a straight bum that needs you to take care of them. You're not going to go down. So what type of life you want? Make sure that also is important, that you all are discussing your future and the things that you see. Again, you have to be equally yoked, and your goals have to be similar and aligned. You get what I'm saying? But I watch Married at First Sight a lot, and just thinking about how they match people blindly, and the things that you say you want or you need, they go by your personality. They look at you, they look at the person, and who would be able to match the energy. And 9 times out of 10 is not when you all person bit, when you get a little bit too much. You might be a shy guy, and yet you have this woman that's a little bit more energetic, that's going to pull you out of your comfort zone, but also still respect you. So when that time, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. It truly is a yin and yang, and it's hard to explain to a person when they're looking for a true explanation as to who that partner or person is going to be. That's going to be a hard thing to really explain to someone. But when people say, when you know, they truly mean that. And it really is the person that you are doing life, and you got to think, do I really want to do life without having this person in my life? When you go through things and you're having highs and lows, that person that you be like, I can't not tell this person this. I can't not talk to this person. I needed somebody that understood me and I need somebody to match that talkative energy. My husband talks a lot. He matches my talkative energy, because if I had somebody, which I've had in the past, or people be like, yo, you talking way too much. This is too much for me. She talked way too much. That's not going to work for me, because he's going to get super tired and just check out. You get what I'm saying? I don't have that. I needed that in my life. I'm also tomboy. I curse a lot. When I say tomboy, I mean, oh, she aesthetically she's pleasing, but it ain't gonna always be like that. I'm not super girly. So I'm not gonna be prissy. I'm gonna probably sit sometimes with my leg wide open. I'm gonna, you know, wipe my mouth and not have lipstick on, pick my teeth with a toothpick. Like I'm that girl, and I'm going to do this just because I want to. I'm not going to tell not use the bathroom around you. I don't want you in there with me, but I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I would never use the bathroom when my husband's home. Absolutely not. Now I don't want him in there. He know not to come in there if I'm in there. But I'm not that girl. So I need somebody that just accepts that. I remember having a guy who was like, oh my God, you curse so much. And I really, in my mind, wasn't cursing so much. But if it needs an F-bomb in whatever I'm describing, I got to be able to express the F-bomb. And if you sensitive about the F-bomb, baby, this ain't going to work. I really want to cuss. And I need to be free to be able to do that without your judgment, without you feeling like, oh Lord, this girl is too much. You got to have somebody that understands you and sees it and just like, girl, I accept all of who you are. And you see somebody and say, I accept all of, who you are. Not to say that they're not going to tear your nerve up. My husband will tears my last nerve up, but I love him and it is what it is. And I can say, boy, you tear my nerve, you smack too much. And what he knows is my demeanor, my tone, my mannerisms. He doesn't take it personal because he knows that I'm not being personal about it. That's the way I talk. That's how I talk. You get what I'm saying? And I would never disrespect him. I would never say anything emasculating. I just wouldn't do that. So whenever I'm saying it, he takes it out of love or doesn't put any stock in it at all. Girl, please. And it is what it is. So I hope my little story and description of kind of what I went through and dealt with in my relationship and going into marriage and how it formed into what somebody else is doing is going to be what fits in that perfect puzzle for you. And you'll know because, again, you'll see the same effort you're putting in from that person. So that's my time, y'all. And until next week, I'll holla. Bye.